So ride-sharing company Uber is already having second or third generation problems in some cities. And here in Metro Vancouver, we haven't even gotten started with it yet. So imagine our interest when we heard that BC's Transportation Ministry suddenly started talking about ride-sharing. We're going to learn more about that now with the help of CKNW legislative reporter Lisa Eusta. Hi, Lisa.
Hello. Well, they have been talking about it for a while, not always saying what people who are very interested in ride sharing want to hear. And they were asked yesterday, or the Minister of Transportation was asked yesterday about ride sharing and are we going to see it? And I'll play this first because this is what she had to say, and it seemed to cause more confusion than not. So here's what Claire Trevena, Transportation Minister, had to say yesterday when asked about when we're going to see this ride sharing in our province.
If you went through the Passenger Transportation Board, if you got your license, if you got your insurance, if you went through all the steps that every person has to do to hire a car, you can rent yourself as a for-hire vehicle. I mean, but we have a process in BC, and that process is established for the safety of everybody in BC.
Yeah, but that's missing the point there. God. Yeah, that's totally missing the point in that that's not what people want out of the service.
The most entertaining part of it was she was asked the same question about 5 times, and that was the last one because I said to her, I'm like, so I could just go out right now and say, hey, here's all my forms, fill them out. Yay, I'm an Uber driver. And that's how she answered the question. And everyone in the scrum was left just standing there with their mouths open. So I did contact the ministry to say, hey, what the heck is going on? They said that, and they've said this before in their election platform and whatnot, because we know NDP of the 3 main parties is the most reluctant, the word I would use, to move forward on ride sharing. And so they sent me a note saying, hey, we will find out more details next week, but their priority, my word, not theirs, but if you're reading through the statement that the ministry sent me, the priority is safety. Obviously, everybody wants to be safe, but ensuring that any sort of ride sharing that comes in doesn't adversely affect the existing taxi drivers and the taxi industry.
Right.
So they're going to study those impacts. And so they said next week we will hear more about how that study will happen and what the timeline is. But the minister was asked a number of times yesterday, so are we going to see this by the end of 2017? The Liberals, I'm trying to remember if it was during the election or before the election. I think it was
just before the election.
That they brought up that they said by the end of the year, we will have ride sharing in the province. And we know the Green Party is, they're pumped about it. They think this would be a great idea. Green Party leader Andrew Weaver is going to put forward another private member's bill about ride sharing. Doesn't look like it's going anywhere. The NDP, it doesn't look like are going to support it. And they could pass it with the numbers that they have with them and the Liberals. However, the Liberals, Jas Johal was asked about it and seems like he's not that interested in supporting what they have. So I think the upshot is although the transportation minister says, hey, we could do it anytime you want, just get in there and do it and play by our rules. The rules don't work for the way ride sharing works.
Exactly. I get the safety issue. This is the issue that was in London, England, right? That's why they yanked Uber's license in London, England because of safety issues. But there has to be a way to, do they not understand? Have they not seen the lineups? Like when the cruise ships come to town, the hours that people wait?
And one of the things that they've said, and I'm going to paraphrase, I'm not going to say exactly, but one of the things that the NDP have said in the past is that they want to make sure, and I think it's even the Premier Horgan that said it in the past prior to being Premier, that we want to make sure that there's a safe way for people to get to point A to point B when they need to get there. Well, you know what? I can tell you from someone who has lived in the West End of Vancouver for most of my life, it's really damn challenging to get one when you when you want one. And you can talk to anybody.
There's room for both.
Who's leaving at night, who wants to get out to the burbs.
Absolutely.
There's not a lot of people who want to take you. You look at the queue. I remember last time I flew into the international airport in Vancouver, people were stunned by the queue to get into a darn taxi. So I think that it rings a lot. It rings hollow for people. And I think, the NDP has had a lot of support from the taxi industry. But I think for people on the street, we're pretty frustrated. And we think that they have I've talked to Carolyn Bauer, who's the head of the taxi association. And, I think it seems like they have more protections than they need, and they're protecting.
Totally.
The industry is being protected at the cost of the consumer.
I agree, Lisa.
So we'll see what it is next week, but I don't but although they're saying we'll find out more details next week, don't get your hopes up that it's going to be a short process and ride sharing is coming for, the Christmas season. Don't think that's happening.
Lisa, thanks.